Keep those arms and legs, and especially your heads, inside the rail car at all times. Please refrain from smoking, eating, or drinking anything but water aboard the Greenfield Village Railroad. And as we continue on now through Railroad Junction, we're about to pass the historic Smiths Creek Depot, originally built in 1858 in Smiths Creek, Michigan. That's about 8.5 miles southwest of Port Huron. Where as a boy, Thomas Edison worked for the Grand Trunk Railroad, selling treats and newspapers along the way, from Port Huron to Detroit and back again. Off to your left, that's the newest addition to Greenfield Village. It's our vegetable building from the Detroit Central Market. Built here in Detroit in 1861. We use it as a farmer's market and other special events throughout the year. And right behind the Central Market is our brand new restaurant. It's called Stand 44, and it will be open on May 1st. And that brings us to the heart of our Railroad Junction district. Just up ahead are Detroit, Toledo, and Milwaukee Roundhouse, where we repair and maintain our 3 coal-fired steam locomotives. Originally built in 1884 in Marshall, Michigan, it was recreated here at Greenfield Village in the year 2000, using elements from that original building. And now the Roundhouse is open to the public, so stop on by, get a bird's eye view of all the work going on the shop floor at our DT&M Roundhouse. And on the other side of the Roundhouse is our Liberty Craftworks district, where artisans and craftsmen create beautiful objects in glass and pottery, carving and weaving. And don't miss the Davis and Gersten Glass Gallery with a spectacular collection of industrial glass. And we're now entering our working farms district, and just beyond the Red Cider Mill is the Firestone Farm. The birthplace of Harvey Firestone, Henry Ford's great friend and the founder of the Firestone Tire and Rubber Company of Akron, Ohio. Firestone Farm is a living history farm, a farmhouse, built in 1828 in Columbiana County, Ohio. And be sure to stop by the barn today, see if there's any new arrivals. Our farm hands are out in the fields today, using tools, implements, and techniques they used way back in the mid-1800s. And that brings us to our next stop of the day, and that's Firestone Station at the front gate. From here you have full access to working farms, Main Street, Liberty Craftworks, and Henry's Model T. If the unit is here, please stay seated until the train comes to a complete stop. The engineer will give a flash to whistle, meaning the air brake is set, and then they'll give you the go-ahead to exit on the right side only. Don't forget that wristband or ticket gets you on and off the train all day long here at the village. So folks, please stay seated till you hear that whistle blow. And with Bradley as our engineer operating the engine today, we also have Andrew, our fireman, keeping up the steam pressure. And back here in the back, well, I'm Mike, your conductor. Now, for the safety of our younger riders, we ask that the adults with them place themselves on the outside of the road. If that's not practical, please make sure they're held or easily within your reach. And please stay seated while the train's in motion. Keep those arms and legs, and especially your heads, inside the rail car at all times, and please refrain from smoking, eating, or drinking anything but water aboard the Greenfield Village Railroad. Colorful maps from our ticket office, you'll find Firestone Station at the bottom left. It will be moving in a counterclockwise direction as we head around the village this afternoon. As you know, Greenfield Village is divided into 7 districts. Our first is Henry, the Model T. You can get a ride on a genuine Ford Model T car at the loading dock on the corner of Bagley and State Street, right here in Henry's Model T district. And that brings us to the birthplace of Henry Ford. On your left is the Ford Farm, built here in Dearborn, Michigan in 1861. Henry was born in that white farmhouse in July of 1863 and lived there with his parents and 5 brothers and sisters. Where he was born. Henry Ford. Now, coming up next, it's our Main Street district. Here you'll find the Wright Brothers home and the Wright Cycle Shop, the birthplace of aviation. Across the street, find out about the 57 varieties at the Heinz home, where they first bought the horseradish. And take a spin on our 1913 Herschel's Film Carousel. Entering our Edison at Work district, and just beyond the picket fence is Thomas Edison's Menlo Park complex, where Edison and his staff of scientists and engineers developed the very first practical incandescent light bulb. The Menlo Park complex is America's first research and development lab, responsible for such innovations as the microphone, the phonograph, and over 800 other patents. And a quick look to your left, you'll see the site of the new site, I should say, of the Jackson Home, coming from Selma, Alabama, honoring Martin Luther King and the Selma marches. Also on your left, that mustard yellow building is the Sarah Jordan boarding house, where Edison's staff used to live. It's the first residential structure in the U.S. to be wired up for electric power. And we're now approaching the gateway to our Porches and Parlors district. That's the Ackley Covered Bridge from 1832 in western Pennsylvania. And just beyond the bridge is our next stop of the day. That's Susquehanna Station. From here you have full access to the entire Porches and Parlors district, including the McGuffey School, the Hermitage Slave Quarters, the Noah Webster House, and the Robert Frost Home, just to name a few. If you're leaving us here, please stay seated until the train comes to a complete stop. The engineer will give a blast of the whistle. That means the air brake is set. And then I'll give you the go-ahead to exit on the left side only. Don't forget that wristband or ticket gets you on and off the train all day long here at the village. Now wait for that whistle, everybody. And especially your heads inside the rail car at all times. Please refrain from smoking, eating, or drinking anything but water aboard the Greenfield Village Railroad.
All of our nerves combined together and go around the earth. That's how long they are.
And as we continue on now through the Porches and Parlors district, about to pass the historic Susquehanna Plantation. Built in 1825 in St. Mary's County, Maryland, where they had 700 acres under cultivation for corn, wheat, and of course tobacco. All the way to your left, the stone building is the Cotswold Cottage, one of the oldest buildings here at Greenfield Village, built in 1620 in Chenworth, England. At the time, it was known as the Rose Cottage. It was a very special Valentine's present from Henry Ford to his wife, Clara, in 1934, when they brought it here to Greenfield Village. And at the end of the road, on the other side of our Ferris windmill, is the Daggett Farm, a living history farm from 1754 in Andover, Connecticut. Stop in and see how Samuel Daggett's family lives and worked out the farm prior to the American Revolution. And now passing our new horse paddock down here at Hawthorne Place. When our horses need their day off, this is where we breathe. Now the locomotive at the head of our train today is the Torch Lake. It's a coal-fired steam engine built way back in 1873 at the Mason Works in Taunton, Massachusetts. The Torch Lake is a Mason bogie, and at 151 years old, it's the oldest regularly operated steam locomotive in the country. And just like Thomas, it's a tank engine. That's right, it carries its own coal and water supply right on the engine itself. It doesn't require a separate tender. The Torch Lake weighs in at 35 tons. So now, folks, let's take a few moments to sit back and relax and enjoy the sights and sounds of as it was in the late 1800s and early 1900s.
You know, watch like every season of this in like 8 years. All the seasons. That's like 30 seasons. That's like 32 seasons. I'm gonna put it right back in like 40 episodes.
Now what you just saw was the blowdown, where we're blowing out any additional scalar sediment building up in the water.
The tree's alive. It's getting warmer.
And we're now entering Oxbow Island. The Oxbow is an 11-acre wetland restoration project, one of the largest in southeastern Michigan. Hundreds of trees have been planted, and the waterways cleaned and cleared. And wildlife has returned with a herd of deer and many small animals as well, like rabbits, squirrels, and turtles. Birds too, like green and blue heron, egrets, and Canada geese, and a big flock of wild turkeys. See a lot of our turtles down there on the river on those logs, and a few of our birds, like blue heron. And we're now entering Walnut Grove on the backside of our Porches and Parlors district. It's where we hold many of our special events throughout the year. And in May, we have a great special event coming up. The first 3 weekends in May means the return of Thomas the Tank Engine. That's right, Thomas is coming back, and he's going to give boys and girls a complete non-stop round trip around Greenfield Village. There'll be food, fun, music, and games. And Sir Topham Head will be here as well. It all happens the first 3 weekends in May. The return of Thomas the Tank Engine to Greenfield Village. Also on your left, that's the Henry Ford Academy. Henry Ford Academy is a charter school here in Wayne County. Students attend for free, but are chosen by lottery. This portion of the campus houses the 10th, 11th, and 12th grades. 9th graders attend class at the Henry Ford Museum. Just ahead, you'll see 3 attached rail cars. They serve as classrooms for the senior class. Imagine that, going to class in a rail car. That waterway on your left is the Swanee Lagoon. It's a rainwater catch basin. It's used as flood control for the village. But it's also the home to Godzilla, one of the biggest turtles you'll ever see. They say that old boy's been swimming in these waters since 1929. On your left, two of our restaurants, the Green Building is the Taste of History. This year featuring a special menu based on recipes from some of our historic sites, like the Daggett Farm, the Firestone Farm, and the Burbank House. Right next door in the White Building is the Eagle Tavern. Built in 1832 in Clinton, Michigan, they offer up an authentic 1850s style dining experience, featuring locally sourced and seasonal favorites, served under candlelight by waiters and waitresses in period clothing. And that brings us to our next stop today, and that's Smith Creek Station. From here you have full access to Railroad Junction, Main Street, and Liberty Craft Works. If you're leaving us here, please stay seated until the train comes to a complete stop. The engineer will give a blast with the whistle, meaning the air brake is set, and then they'll give you the go-ahead to exit on the left. Wait for that whistle now.
And now we're coming up to the water tower. And we'll get us some water. And what you're looking at just ahead on the left there is the Detroit, Toledo, Milwaukee Roundhouse. That was built in 1884 in Marshall, Michigan. We recreated it here in the year 2000 using some of the original parts from the old building. That roundhouse is an integral part of Railroad Junction because that's where we maintain and repair our 3 coal-fired steam locomotives as well as our diesel switcher. Now, for the first time since the pandemic, the roundhouse is open. So if you want to go in and tour the roundhouse, that's a possibility now. And you're also looking on your left. That's the Detroit Central Market. That used to be in downtown Detroit. That was used in the 1860s. And we have a new eatery just adjacent to the Detroit Central Market. And the name is going to be Stand 44. Stand 44. There used to be a lady that had an eatery in Detroit Central Market, and she was at Stand 44.